Fala galera, estamos começando mais um episódio aqui da série Pillars of Eternity 2 e vamos lá, né? No episódio passado a gente fez, deixa eu ver aqui, tem essa missão aqui de alquimia que eu acho que ela bugou, né? Eu tava pensando sobre essas aqui, ó, informação de engares, sugere que são moedas que eu tenho que levar para aquele cara, né? Só que eu tô na dúvida se eu levo ou não, porque assim, eu fiz todo a aprovação daquela perseguidora, né, que é a aranha. E aí tem outras ali pra fazer, né, de luta contra, sei lá.
We got trouble, folks.
Oh?
Eu fiz mesmo.
That's not very helpful. That's my friends. Hey. Sure.
Na verdade, eu não queria nem vir pra cá. Deixa eu ver aqui. Eu tô pensando em não fazer essas missões porque pra mim, honestamente, tá bem encheção de linguiça. E olha que eu adoro RPG, mas não. Meu filho, só aqui que você não sabia, né? Deixa eu ver aqui. Itens de missão, né? Acho que chegou a hora, hein? Viagem para o Ukaizo. O Ukaizo fica no extremo nordeste de Nequetá. O único jeito de chegar lá é pelo canal Ofek. Uma passagem natural, natureza cheia de presa, magrão, testa. Certo. Tem essa galera aqui, né? Desse príncipe. Eu não sei se vai dar treta, né? Mas. Descansar aqui pra ter o bônus, né? E o que é isso? Esse apelido desse troço vibra com um poder antigo. Eita.
Hi.
Começou tranquilo, né? Agora vem outro.
I'm here. It's no use. What do you need?
What can I do you for? All thick worth and raw.
Porra.
Cooked that up, didn't I?
Glory be to God. Nuh-uh, didn't work. All thick worth and raw.
This is futile. Yes?
Ahoy. I'll be chopping you to shit for another tack, Cap.
What do you need? I hope nobody saw that. What can I do? Take this! That's not very helpful.
Boa.
I'm here. Absolutely.
Tem outros aqui? Não. Quando os combos um eco tênue de energia de alma pisca em sua direção. Porto de Grande Ukaizo. Grande pátio.
I hope you got a way of turning off that storm. Looks unfriendly. Mean-spirited, even.
Não, a tempestade furiosa obscurece a cidade abaixo, mas você consegue distinguir o formato de diferentes pináculos saindo das ruínas alagadas. Espíritos rodeiam a sua alma com insistência, como um mastro da popa tentando puxar um manto das suas costas.
Gilded Vale got its name from the way the wheat fields used to look in the sun. But this place really is gilded. Might as well be a different world. Ended. Yet here we are, These great people got a funny way of passing on. They disappear from the world, but leave their problems behind for the rest of us to deal with. I guess maybe that's one good thing that's come out of this. Well, at least for me. I got something to do with my life that doesn't involve... The whole world's about to face the biggest test it ever saw. What Aethys is doing, it's gonna change everything. You may not survive. Kith, I mean. No, I broke a wheel once too. First thing I thought of when we learned what Aethys was doing, my mom had this spinning wheel. And she loved it. Well, I was playing with it in the way a young child might when his parents are out, and that wheel came right off. It wouldn't go back into place, so I pushed it harder and pretty... Anyway, I got whipped pretty good for it. That wheel was never the same, even after my dad fixed it. I used to think of the gods as being like parents to all of us. And now I know better.
Vamos embora. Sem papo. Apesar do dispositivo acima da torre girar de forma selvagem em revoluções embaraçadas, o ar ao redor dele ainda é calmo. Você se encontra no olho da tempestade que isolou a tormenta de Ondra do resto de Eora durante milhares de anos. Você vê um painel de controle antigo, as alavancas dele se mantêm em posições de ativação. Eita, bem, ó. Uma percussão profunda sacode a torre pelas raízes. Em algum lugar, na obscuridade da tempestade alta, toma a distância para atingir o primeiro punho um golpe devastador.
The machine controlling the storm winds down. The clattering of its machinery settles into a low whir and then, at last, hiccups to a halt. Beyond the tower, the black, roiling clouds of Andra's mortar roll away from the ancient city of Ukaizo, with only a tired sigh of wind to see them off. And on that last breath of wind, comes to you a familiar sound. The ring of a bell. The bell's ringing is soft, not the clangor and torrent you've grown used to. It calls to your soul, and your soul yearns to follow it. Your soul flees from your...
Watcher, your journey nears its conclusion.
The pallid night stands before you, her gaunt face impassive.
Free of your duty to me, perhaps, but mine is not the only tie that binds you. You have gathered quite a few since we first spoke. Soon you will confront Aethys for what will likely be the final time, and you will do so as the Herald of Barath, the only creature on the face of Eora to whom he will listen. Remember that.
The pallid night inclines her head to you, black hair hanging lank in her face. She steps back and cedes the floor to Helia with a small, resigned sigh.
If Aethys truly intends to go through with his mad plan to destroy the wheel, a generation's worth of souls will be trapped in the in-between. So many would suffer. How can Aethys be so cruel? He cannot just abandon them. Aethys must help the Kith find a quick solution.
Abaddon strides forward.
Aethys thrust this crisis on the Kith. They did not bring it upon themselves. Their only mistake was entrusting us to watch over them. Who will help them rebuild their world now?
Aethys will reveal every secret of the gods. Will Kith be able to change the established order if they have no wonder to inspire them? Aethys must help them resolve this quickly, lest every one of Eora's few remaining mysteries be laid plain.
With the wheel destroyed, Kith will tear themselves apart. It is the gods' duty to prevent that happening, lest they doom us all. And as Kith must be ruled, so too must the gods. I say that if Aethys is so eager to throw down the mantle of power and step aside, I shall take my rightful place as Queen of the Gods again.
Coitada.
Kith are strongest when they follow our lead, and we are strongest when we lead in turn. United in purpose with the gods, Kith can accomplish things that without us, they could never have even begun. They must be shown their boundaries to surpass them.
Kith will not solve Aethys' puzzle on their own. And without an established order to fight against, the bonds that bind them dissolve, and they fight amongst themselves.
That confidence is what will save Kith, Watcher. Do not lose it when you stand before Aethys.
Boudica's firm hand is but the motherly smothering of Helia by another name. Mortals should have no special advantages. Only once Kith have striven to improve themselves through trial will they truly know their measure. Kith must suffer to find their strength if they are to survive the world into which Aethys drags them. Our intervention in your struggle would be a cruelty and counter to our purpose.
He lets his words hang in the air for a moment. Gaze, level with your own.
Indeed. Kith must discover for themselves what it is they are worth, and of what it is they are capable. What we do for them, they do not learn for themselves. Trial breeds ingenuity. If our work of generations was not in vain, Kith will succeed in spite of Aethys' actions. I have faith in Kith's ability to meet Aethys' challenge. Do not mistake my words for indifference, Watcher. They are born from a fierce belief in your potential, not a refutation of it.
Margaret is blinded by her affection for mortals. She does not see that entropy is the destiny of all things. If Aethys were wise, he would destroy everything. End life, end reincarnation, end death. Kith have had their chance. It is time to let silence reign.
As Rimmergon's words fade, the Pallid Knight returns. She no longer towers over you, a giant even among the gods, but meets you at your height. She lets the arms crossed over her chest fall to her sides. She speaks to you openly.
Well, Watcher, you know where we stand. What do you believe? You have some time to think yet, but not perhaps as much as you would like. Now the time has come for us to part. I laid upon you a difficult duty, and you have discharged it well. You will be free of it in time, but you are no stranger to hard choices. You killed Theos, and when his soul was laid bare before you, you chose to return it to the wheel. Remember the strength it took to make that choice, and know that you alone may sway Aethys now. When you stand before him, choose your words carefully.
The gods depart one by one in brooding silence. A solitary figure remains perfectly still until the last of her colleagues is out of earshot.
Gareth is a fool if she thinks I'll let her enjoy the last word. You were trusted with a heavy responsibility, Watcher. Speaking for mortals, and representing their interests in the future to come. Impudent whelp. Seek your counsel from Aethys, then. No doubt he will fill your head with idealistic conjecture. The rest of us will be sharpening our blades, preparing for the future.
You keep falling asleep on me, I'm gonna have to start walking behind you with a pillow. Oh, by the way, the storm's gone. Also, I think Aethys has ended the world.
It seems we're all still here.
Gods and darnation. My head.
And here with me thinking we were right and proper dead this time. We ain't dead, right?
So now it comes to this, amico. You think to steal my golden dream, but I will not allow it to happen. My gratitude is yours for disabling the storms. It seems I did not require Rivan's ship to reach Ukaizo in the end. You jest in the face of your death, huh? Allow me to admit how grandly I will enjoy ending you. Until the next life? Nor, perhaps not, considering.
Gigantesco hipócrita esse carinha aqui. Eu trouxe dá-lo.
Yeah? Leave it to me.
What can I do you for? I'll think worth and raw.
Captain? Seer must me too.
Deixa eu ver aqui como é que tá as armas, né? Tá tudo no máximo. Olha aqui. Armadura média, né?
Isn't that lovely?
Bora. Massa, né?
You descend into the ancient ancient winding streets of Ukaizo. Battered by storms for thousands of years, the ruins bear the marks of their role as the lone witnesses of the gods' great secret at the center of the city. The houses and boulevards are pierced by great spears of luminous Audra. There are no ashen bodies, no birds, no sign or sound of any life. But with every step, the rhythmic pounding in the distance draws nearer. Soon, you can feel the vibration traveling up your spine. As you approach the center of the city, the weathered architecture gives way to more luminous Audra, piercing the ruins, eventually overtaking them entirely. Cresting the top of a fallen tower, you finally get a clear view of Aethys. He stands, legs astride, next to a great stone monument ringed with 11 cavernous alcoves. All but 3 hold a gargantuan skeleton, bones scrubbed clean by the city's storms. An immense Anguithan machine floats above the monument, suspended by invisible energy emanating from a well of light beneath it. Great brass rings spin around a core of metal and Audra at the machine's center. Periodically, Aethys's massive arms swing back. The movement alone is enough to draw great gusts of wind toward him. When they come down on the machine, the impacts are accompanied by eruptions of electricity, fire, and smoke. The hundreds of luminous Audra pillars across Ukaizo sympathetically dim in a rippling wave that spreads out from the machine. The only safe route to the god is a steep ascent along a monstrous pillar of luminous Audra, intertwined with fragments of Ukaizo's ruins that it has carried through the centuries. The pillar bends in a long arc, towering above the machine. The pillar levels out near Aethys's head, a silent observer to the destruction of the machine it has grown beside over thousands of years. You weave your way along a treacherous rain-slicked path up the pillar's skyward side. As you arrive at the top, you catch Aethys's attention. Fist pulled back, he pauses to observe you. With the same gentleness he showed at Ashen Maw, he lowers his arm and turns toward you.
Strange to see Ukaizo in this way. It may be hard to picture, but this city was once full of life. The Huana, yes, but also kith from many other cultures. Great hanging trees shadowed these boulevards. Gardens sprawled across the open rooftops. Each spring, a festival procession would wind its way from the hillside into this valley. The celebrants would pass through a steep walk among the stalls of foreign merchants, flowers falling upon them from all sides. All people of all nations, together in a celebration of new life. Such was the power and beauty of lost Ukaizo.
If we don't fix this mess you're about to cause, the whole world is gonna look this bad. I mean, it's a mighty heavy load you're putting on our shoulders. I just hope we can carry it.
As long as there are people like you in this world, Adair, I truly do. This power has always been in the grasp of mortals. Now you will finally be aware of it. Now you will be able to decide what to do with it.
Gone, please, I'm begging you. What do I do following this? How am I to best serve those still living, to improve our future chances of survival?
The Deadfire and the Eastern Reach are full of animancers, women and men with brilliant minds who can solve this great problem. They will also need people with brilliant souls, Like you, Shodi. People who can tend to the spiritual needs of the world in a time of fear and desperation. Remember, the flame you bear is not only light, but warmth. Provide comfort to all who need it.
I ain't never chatted up a god before. Feel like I should be asking something profound and philosophical. And yet, thing I'll be wanting to know, what be stopping the other gods from coming down and just setting this shit back straight? And then you, breaking it again. This be our new tides, then, all up and down, over and over, till the sea drowns us all?
A wise question, Seraphim. Have no doubt, some of the gods are already trying to figure out a way to fix this on their own. It is not beyond their capabilities. After all, we made these machines with the Huana many years ago. But it is not something they can do easily. Not without mortal assistance. It will be for mortals to decide if they should receive it.
What right do you have to do this? Destroy the wheel and leave us with nothing? Without even knowing what will come next?
Aloth, we are all gods and mortals, responsible for our own actions. But inaction carries its own moral responsibility. It is a burden I have carried for far too long. One must always do as their conscience dictates, even if that means abdicating a position of power. But what of you, Watcher? Why have you followed me? Have you come to bear witness to the breaking of the wheel? Mortals are already inspired. It is what has pushed them on for hundreds of generations to reach this point in time. Animancy is poised to go far beyond what we Ingwithans ever discovered. Why does Helia think I should lend more power to mortals? As do I. From where should mortals draw their inspiration? Very well, Watcher. I will ensure that mortals are inspired by my passing. Indulge me in a moment's curiosity. There is something I wish to know about Eora, about Kith, that I can only learn through your eyes. You followed me all this way, dodging an armada, navigating an impenetrable wall of storms, voyaging across uncharted seas, with the machinations of gods echoing in your ears, all the while trusting in the institutions of Kith to get you this far, and earning their trust in turn. Whatever else happens this day, that much is remarkable. I believe that mortals possess the strength to collaborate and shape a future of their own design. Not all of my brothers and sisters agree. By relying on others and coming together in a time of crisis, you illustrate my point. The gods will witness you and question their assumptions about how responsible, empathetic, and sophisticated mortals can be. What inspired your decision, Watcher? Did the choice echo your foundational beliefs? Or were you influenced by observation? I thank you for your perspective. Yours is not the only opinion that concerns me. All I ever wanted for mortals was growth, transformation. Once, my brothers and sisters shared this goal. Some have forgotten themselves, giving into fatalism or tyranny. Others have succumbed to apathy. It brings me great sorrow that crisis is the only way to set the future in motion. Would that I could pass the responsibility of heralding your darkest hour to another. Never forget that trust and coordination between mortals brought you to this place. Your future is built on a foundation of hope, and you have laid the first stone. Ask. You are entitled to any answer that is mine to give. The great work of the Ingwithans falls to ruin. Reincarnation as we know it will end. Souls which currently await new life in the beyond will be born into the world as normal, but their numbers will not replenish. Anything that dies will tarry in the void of the in-between, awaiting the motion of a wheel that once the beyond has emptied, every birth will be hollow-born. Other maladies of the soul may follow and plague those who linger in life. Unless mortals work together to carve a new path, the essence of life will be trapped in the netherworld. Gods will starve. Eora will grow silent and cold. A generation or more. That much essence is already poised to flow into Eora. But unlike an hourglass, no amount of turning will compel the sand to reverse its course. Should you choose, you could lay down your burden and trust in your children's children to set matters right. That depends entirely on you. By your reckoning, there are still good years to come. By ours, time is short. When we tamed the cycle of reincarnation, we broke what had once functioned naturally and without intervention. The flow of essence will not normalize on its own. Essence will simply pool in the void of the in-between, never passing through Adra networks to the beyond. The dead will be left to wander in darkness, confusion, and sorrow. Boudica is entitled to her opinion. If the intent of this, the other gods must decide for themselves if mortals are ready to dictate their future. Should Boudica's tyranny prove the only alternative, your perspective bridges eternity, Watcher. Many will look to you to mediate differences that could shake the very foundations of Eora. For several reasons. My strength was diminished after the Godhammer bomb. With so many vying for control of the Deadfire, I also saw a ripe opportunity for more. They have never been more powerful, more capable. Because of this, the gods must justify their importance or be proven obsolete. No one is worthy of unconditional trust. If you feel the gods are beyond forgiveness, then they don't deserve your obedience. Should you choose to accept the gods, I hope that you temper your faith with skepticism. I apologize, Watcher. There is nothing I can do to restore the glory of your hard-won. What happened to Cadnua was not personal in nature. I would have occupied the statue even if it was buried beneath. Given your perseverance, I know that a second home cannot be distant in your future. You have only to seek it out. Yes, they must work toward a solution. If that task is beyond their skill, then they no longer deserve their position. That could mean swallowing their pride and hearkening to the wisdom of mortals. Some, I expect. I must attend to my final work now. You have carried a heavy burden across the Deadfire, Watcher. Before I go, I would rid you of it. You are free now. As free as any of us can be. Many will come to you for help in the years ahead. Animancers, priests, even the gods themselves. I have great hope for you. But always remember that your future is for you to decide. Use your freedom well.
Aethys squares himself to the machine. As you move to a safe distance, he draws his fist back and resumes his assault. The blows rain down with increased fervor, but the machine perseveres in spite of his efforts. Spreading his arms wide, Aethys draws power from the luminous Audra clustered around the valley. The energy courses through his body, limbs overflowing with intense light and waves of heat. He returns to his task, each strike bringing with it the sound of cracking stone and twisting metal, the flickering of luminous Audra across Ukaizo. As the ancient machine finally begins to succumb to his strength, so too does Aethys' body, built to withstand the passage of thousands of years. The great Audra statue has finally been pushed beyond its limits. Cracks appear along the hands, then race up the arms. Aethys does not slow his assault, but continues unabated. Its brass rings twisted. The machine spins erratically but withstands the relentless barrage. Aethys stands astride it and pummels the base of the machine. Soul energy begins to flare out from the machine's heart, warping the air with the intense heat. Aethys drives his right fist into the machine's center, the core of metal and Audra. The god lets out a deafening shout, something between a cry of anguish and a roar of exultation. You see Aethys' arm shatter upward from his hand through his elbow. A flash of light and heat bursts from the core, accompanied by a cacophony of destruction. The moment passes, as Aethys' shout echoes throughout the valley. Your eyes begin to recover. The god's work is accomplished. The great... As Aethys' voice fades, the enormity of what you've accomplished sinks in. You have confronted a god. You have rediscovered the ancient city where the wheel was forged, and you have seen the wheel shattered. What comes next is uncertain, but already the legend spreads of the Watcher, who survived Andra's mortar and stood toe-to-toe with Aethys. As the light of thousands of souls leaves Maras Nua's body, Deadfire quakes, the sea churns. All around the archipelago, long forgotten and within ruins rise from the rubble and the waves, a lost bounty of ancient knowledge now laid bare for Kith. The Juana lay claim to Deadfire's ruins and lead efforts to explore them. They prove especially adept at deciphering the secrets of Ukaizo, emboldening efforts to recreate the work of the Yanguithans. Priests, mystics, and visionaries around the world dream of ancient pasts. Scholars delve into the annals of history. All of Aora gazes backward to find its way forward. What remains to be seen is whether Kith will find the same answers the Yanguithans did, and whether they will apply them to the same effect. Reclaiming Ukaizo is both a symbolic and a practical victory for the Juana. The ancient city is a potent reminder of their people's ancient glory, and it promises to be a much more easily defensible capital, especially with the storm controls of Andra's Spire close at hand. The other tribes unite under the Kahanga and dedicate themselves to rebuilding Ukaizo and relearning its secrets. The Valian Trading Company continues its operations in Deadfire, though it is forced to renegotiate many of its contracts with the newly empowered Juana Crown. Company leadership finds that the new terms are much more favorable to the tribes than to their own interests in the region. Due to these changes, the Valian Trading Company eventually withdraws most of its people from Deadfire. The Royal Deadfire Company is allowed to continue trading in the archipelago, though they are forced to submit most of their outposts and fortifications to Juana leadership. The storms across the Rawatayan mainland subside along with those of Andra's mortar. However, Rawatai regards this respite with a wary eye, ever mindful that the machinery at Andra's Spire remains under their foes' control. The battle at Andra's mortar leaves the fleet of the Principe Sen Patrena in shambles. Thus sundered, they fight among each other until they are little more than squabbling bands of pirates. They continue to harass unguarded merchant vessels, but they are fit for little more. Gone are the dreams of empire and the hunger for primacy. Despite other tensions across the archipelago, Port Maje remains a model of peaceful, productive cooperation between the Juana and the Valian Trading Company. Though they do not always agree, Governor Clario and Storm Speaker Ikawa work together for the mutual benefit of their people. As the balance of power changes in Deadfire, so too does Nekataka transform. Though the Kahanga monarchy moves its new seat of government to Ukaizo, Nekataka continues to be a busy and important city. The Kahanga leadership takes responsibility for the welfare of the Raparu, and the Gullet starts to improve. What was once a den of crime, poverty, and illness slowly becomes a quiet haven for the Raparu. Ukaizo reveals more about the ancient art of water shaping than the guild could have hoped to learn in another century of work. With this new knowledge, water shapers across the archipelago wield the currents and bend the waves for the pleasure and benefit of the new Juana nation. Your brief encounter with Letharn proves deeply influential for the children of the Dawnstars. Plagued with nightmares and haunted by the deaths at Hesango, Letharn begins questioning his faith in Aethys. At first, his fellow Dawnstars chide him, but that changes as word of Aethys' deeds at Ukaizo spreads. After all, what business have they worshipping a god who denied his own legitimacy? The faith of the children of the Dawnstars fades, but their commitment to the people of Deadfire does not. They continue feeding, healing, and helping the neediest, just as they have for decades. It is no longer a holy mission, but it is a mission all the same. The Adra at Pokakohara is restored, but the rumored Valian Trading Company post never comes to Tikawara. Torn between waiting and seeking better fortunes elsewhere, the tribe gradually scatters and fragments. Ships continue to disappear at the southeastern fringe of the archipelago, and stories circulate of a colony of vampires and gulls preying on their crews. The Queen soon sends a contingent of her bravest warriors who end the horrors of Splintered Reef. The dragon, Neraskirlas, no longer passes between Aora and the White Void, and the dead flow slowly breaks apart, exposing the temple long frozen within. Vatnir tries to hold the Harbingers of Dusk together, and for a time, succeeds. The group resettles within and around the temple, vowing to protect it. Eventually, however, Remergon's godlike falters, and his followers sacrifice him to the White Void. The Temple of Remergon falls into disrepair, home only to madmen and monsters. The chime of Remergon continues to pulse coldly within your breast. Though the beast of winter rarely intrudes upon you, the chill within your soul promises that you will return to his dominion in the end. Once repaired, the Adra at the primal island of Kazuwari again pulses with the flow of soul essence between the here and the beyond. The feral life on the island flourishes, the jungles and veld growing ever wilder and resistant to settlement and exploration alike. The faces of the hunt continue to rule the Crucible and Galawain's, or rather, Tawamawai's name. The trials summoned by the statue grow deadlier with each season, until only those rare few willing to brave the gravest of dangers seek out the bloody ordeals of Kazuwari. Like the other souls following in your wake, Muatu eventually yearns to move on to the beyond and the wheel. Stymied by Aethys' actions, however, he settles on returning to Kazuwari, where he joins the choir of souls that echo throughout the Crucible. Hundreds of Kith, and no small number of Wilder and Primordials, flee from the Black Isle, their minds a confused collection of inconsistent and contradictory memories. Each escapee bears knowledge that was once lost, and agents of the Hand Occult across Aora work tirelessly in the years that follow to hunt down and end these fugitives. They find far fewer than they hope. Encouraged by her arcane successes, Bakarna returns to her observatory to continue her studies of the celestial spheres. In time, her colleagues in the Circle of Archmagi come to accept her among their number. She takes on apprentices, and they trumpet her praises as both a brilliant innovator and nurturing pedagogue. Slain by your hand, the Titan of Wal poses little further threat to Aora. As the corpse decays, it putrefies into a massive nest of hungry fungal monstrosities. Vessels that anchor off the shores of the Black Isles tend to go missing, only to turn up shipwrecked months or even years later against distant shores. With time, though your Adair returns to Hisongo, where he reunites with Byrne, the son of his former lover, Alava. The boy takes heart in Adair's account that Aethys and all the other gods were false, petty, and unworthy of the love of Kith. Realizing how close he came to dying for this cause, Byrne finds renewed purpose in working alongside his uncle to repair the many scars left upon Deadfire by the gods. Under Adair's guidance, Byrne grows into the kind of irreverent, stubborn hothead that would have made his mother proud, and Adair visits her gravesite, often to tell her so. Shodi is not a priestess who understands the meaning of subtlety. As such, she makes her girlish crush on Adair painfully obvious from the moment she first sets eyes on the strapping fighter. Early in your travels, Adair appears discomforted by her persistent flirting. He often grimaces when she sidles up to him, and he takes endless pains to keep their conversations terse and to the point. But after a little smoothing on your part to nudge them in the right direction, Adair makes an effort to view Shodi with an open mind. And Shodi begins teasing the veteran fighter in a more companionable and less amorous manner. After saving each other's hides a couple times, and sharing more than a few laughs, the two form an easy, and you suspect, lifelong friendship. Seemingly lit with an inner glow, Shodi takes to a new life of mission work with gusto. She still is committed to shepherding souls forgone, but having realigned her goals with that of her fellow Dawnstars, she now endeavors to help the living as much as the dead. As you travel the Deadfire, you find her sleeping better and laughing more often. When the time comes for her to return to her temple in Nekataka, it's with a clear wistfulness and much lip-biting on her part. She leaves you with her sickle and a hastily scrawled note. It reads, "A keepsake from a path once walked. Remember me, Watcher, for I will forever dream of you." Though the two of you no longer travel together, Shodi holds fast to the memory of you in her heart, remaining your fierce and doting girlfriend, faithful even in her absence. You receive a missive for every day apart, though they often arrive in a single bundle some weeks or months past. In them, she writes of how she misses you, how you are like a fire that burns inside her, how one day surely you will be reunited again. Until then, she prays for your safety as she continues to labor in service to Gon. Aloth renews his commitment to destroying the Leaden Key. With the wheel broken, loosening the god's stranglehold on Kith is more urgent than ever. It is a lofty goal, and one he does not expect to finish in his lifetime. But if there's one thing he's learned from the Watcher, it's that a single person can change the world. You let Romaro go, and the former pirate ostensibly set sail for the trade lanes of the Eastern Reach, the Edier Empire, Old Valia, and the Republics. For the remainder of your time together, Seraphon seems, if not exactly happy, at least contented with the outcome of your confrontation with his former mentor at Sayuka. And yet, when the two of you part, Seraphon seems emboldened, invigorated by a new sense of purpose. He buys you a drink, toasts to the Deadfire, says let's see if we can make something worth a shit out of what's left of these Principe swabs, and sets sail the next morning. In the years to follow, rumors occasionally reach you of the Blue Orlan pirate of the Deadfire, a privateer captain as keen to free slaves or fight foreign influence as he is to plunder and pillage. After reporting back to her superiors for the Watcher's actions against the Valian Trading Company, Palagina is rewarded with reassignment home to the Valian Republics. She spends the next several years as the head of the household guard for the Duke of Anchenze. In this role, she is often lauded for her courage and loyalty. Even with all of the praise, there are still times when she cannot help but feel she could have had more influence on what transpired in the Deadfire. Takehu distances himself from the problems of the Deadfire, giving the tribes a reprieve from godlike omens. And Gati's silence speaks volumes. The Huana grow to rely on each other, paving a new way forward divorced from their traditions. Soon after he departs Nekataka, distant tribes report of unusual and salacious water sculptures appearing on the shores. These quaint visitations are widely celebrated, the identity of the artist ever an open question. He bids you farewell, suggesting that you seek your next adventure in a brothel or tavern, where consequences begin and end at the front door. Your pursuit of Aethys and your journey to Ukaizo signal the end of forces that have shaped the lives of Kith and the course of nations. The cycle of reincarnation has been broken. The storms of Andra's mortar have calmed. Yet each ending promises a new beginning. As the sun rises over Ukaizo, Kith turn their gaze eastward, wondering at what lies beyond. And as the Watcher of Cadnua and the former Herald of Bareth, you return to your ship and begin the long journey home. You
Beleza, galera. Esse foi o Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire, né? Espero que vocês tenham gostado, né, da série de gameplays, né? É um jogo bem extenso, né? Muita coisa. Tentei fazer o máximo de coisas possíveis, né? Mas sempre fica alguma coisinha, né? Dado o tamanho desses RPGs, né? E é isso. Se gostou, deixa um like, compartilha e valeu!